Hi there, everybody. It's Ifti, or you can call me Ifti. I've set up an account on Etoro called Extreme Returns. I joined the platform nearly a year ago, but this account is fairly new. It has only got this is the third month of stats. By background, I qualified as a chartered management accountant many, many years ago, worked for big blue chip companies like Unilever and Mars Confectionery. And I was in charge, for example, of some of the smaller units in Mars. I turned around their vending machines operation, which was loss-making, into something which was profitable. Got fed up with accounting and decided to go into sales recruitment. Did that very well. And then after a number of years of doing that, I went into a stint of headhunting, set up my own estate agency, car hire, and other businesses as well. I joined Etoro because I think it's the future. In this video, I'm going to explain the reasons how I pick stocks. So you can see a lot of the stocks which I have here, and I'm going to go through some of them selectively in order to explain why I've picked them. A lot of my reasoning is actually shown in my biography, and Etoro asked us to do this, but I'm going to take you through it. It says, did you know that less than 4% of all stocks have created the vast majority, in fact, all of the wealth of the entire stock exchange? My strategy is simply to identify them and invest in them. Please note that this is a concentrated portfolio. It means higher than average volatility. So I am very influenced by that study. It's by a chap called Henrik Bessembinder. He is the W.P. Carey finance professor at Arizona University. And he's done a lot of teaching before. I mean, if you look at his CV, he's teaching all sorts of subjects, all to do with these kind of things: trading costs, market design, stock markets, energy, futures, and so on. He's currently at the Arizona State University. He was at the University of Utah, and basically he's a top professor in finance. He asked a question in 2017, and he had a whole team investigating it. And the question was this: do stocks outperform Treasury bills? Now, Treasury bills pay very, very little interest, as we know. So everybody knows that the stock market has outperformed Treasury bills easily. So the question was rather silly in the eyes of most people. Do stocks outperform Treasury bills? Of course they do. The stats show that. However, Henrik Bessembinder took a new take on it, and this is it. He said, he looked at, well, I'll read it to you. The majority of common stocks that have appeared in the Center for Research and Security Prices, CRSP database, that's where every stock is held, all the data, since 1926, have lifetime buy and hold returns less than 1 month treasuries. So the majority of stocks, if you buy and hold, which is what Warren Buffett says you should do, amongst many other people, it has less than 1 month returns, less returns than 1 month treasuries. When stated in terms of lifetime dollar wealth creation, the best performing 4% of listed companies explain the net gain for the entire US stock market since 1926. So 4% of all companies listed on the stock exchange in America account for the net gain for the entire stock exchange, as other stocks collectively matched Treasury bills. These results highlight the important role of positive skewness in the distribution of individual stock returns. So what he's saying is, actually, only 4% of stocks outperform Treasury bills. which is crazy. I'm not going to take you through the entire study. It's very interesting. But what I did want to do was forward it on to one of the tables which he has. And it is a fascinating read. If you've got time, please do look it up. Let me just try and find it. It's in one of the appendices. And what he's got, he's listed out. And what they show is the net gain. In fact, just before we do that, so while the overall, this is his conclusion, this is quite important. While the overall US stock market has handily outperformed Treasury bills in the long run, most individual common stocks have not. Of the nearly 26,000 common stocks that have appeared on the database from 1926 to 2016, less than half generated a positive lifetime buy and hold return. Only 42.6% have a lifetime buy and hold return greater than 1 month Treasury bills over the same interval. The positive performance of the overall market is attributable to large returns generated by relatively few stocks. And what he noticed, I don't think it's in this one, it's in another one of his studies that I read. He listed out the top stocks, and Apple was at number 1, and the FANG companies were all listed as well. In subsequent studies, what this chap has done is he said that there's a number of key common traits that if you look for in some stocks, you will find. And I'm going to give you an example from my portfolio just to show you. So let's look at B&M European Retail. I go over to a company, a database called Stockopedia. And Stockopedia are fantastic. These are the kind of things that you would get, many years ago, you'd need a whole team of accountants and analysts. So B&M European Value Retail, for those people who don't know it, they're a discount retailer. So the kind of things that we look for is, number one, the compound average growth rate of sales is increasing at a very good rate. Now, what does that mean? At least 10% year on year over the last 5 years. And this company's got 18%. You can see from that graph, it's just been going up and up and up. In 2015, it was 1.6 billion pounds, and it doubled in 4 years. And it's going up again, in spite of the pandemic. The other thing to look at is, are they translating that into net profit? So you can see 18.3% compound annual growth. And yes, in net profit terms, they are. So every extra pound of revenue is generating the same return, in fact, very slightly higher, at the net profit level. Many companies grow very fast, but cannot translate that into profit. These people are, so I identify those companies. The other thing Best & Binder says is that you've got to look at free cash flow. Now, free cash flow is a really, really important indicator of how well a company is doing, and probably a very good indicator of how it will do. So free cash flow means how much cash does the business have left over after it's paid for everything. And if you look at this, it's done per share. Look at that graph. 7.53 pence per share in 2015, went up to 8.59, went up again, went down slightly, but then tripled the next year. And then look at this, 41.8, 67.1. It's just amazing what this company has done. So compound annual growth rate of cash flow is over 40% year on year. So these are the kind of indicators that I look for in companies. Let's just take another one, IPB. So IPB, an interesting company, installed building products, quoted on the New York Stock Exchange. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I just want to show you the kind of things I'm looking at. So revenue, you can see 24% nearly compound annual growth rate. And in 2014, they were $518 million, and they doubled in 3 years, and they're just about to double again. If you look at net profit, they 37.4%. So that's even faster rate of return, which is fantastic. And if you look at their free cash flow per share, it's increasing at an incredible rate. Let's just take one or two more. So yeah, let's take Etsy. Interesting company. I've done detailed financial analysis on all of these companies, so you can have a look at that on my YouTube channel. So I'm not going to go into great detail now. I just wanted to show you, look, in spite of the PE ratio being incredibly high, you can see 94.5. PE ratio just means how expensive is a stock. It's the most widely used metric. I think it's flawed. It has its limitations. If you want to look at any other metric, look at price to free cash flow, which is the same as a PE ratio, except the PE ratio looks at accounting. The price to free cash flow ratio looks at cash flow. And I think that's more important, and it's nearly half. But anyway, I digress. So total revenue has been growing at 33% compound annual growth rate over the last few years. Fantastic. It's growing in profit as well. You can see that it did have a dip there slightly, but then it's been growing again. And look at that, from 96 million, and the 12-month trailing basis, which should be 232. Estimates for the full year, 282, and then next year, this year is even better. Look at the cash flow. Look at that, 132% compound annual growth rate on free cash flow. It's an amazing company. Now, let's look at, let's look at one more, ASOS. So I like to look, a lot of these top traders and a lot of people on Etoro will only look at US techs or Chinese techs and maybe look into solar energy or electric cars or something along those lines. There's too many similar companies, which are all, everybody's piling into. I like to look at companies which are a little bit in different sectors, different areas. So ASOS, it's an online retail company, clothes 23% annual growth rate for revenue. It's translating it onto the net profit line. And if you look at free cash flow, 44%. It's fantastic. So this is one of the principles I use in order to identify companies. And if you look at some of the companies I've got, I don't see anybody else having some of these companies. I don't see anyone having Kering, which is a luxury producer of goods. Not many people have got Ferrari. Hardly anyone has got ASOS. I don't see anyone with Install Building Products or B&M. So there's another one here down here, which I like, Arista Networks. So there's so many here which I've got that not many people have got. So this is just one of the methods I use to identify companies. There are many other things I do as well, but I thought I'd just highlight one of the principles. So my name is Ifti. I'm from Extreme Returns, and I'd be very grateful if you could share, like, subscribe, and if you've got $200, start small, copy me, and as you see my stats increase, I know there's not much to go on, but I'm a qualified accountant and an entrepreneur with a proven track record. I've been featured in the BBC, in the Independent, and multiple other sources as well. I don't see many qualified accountants. I don't see many entrepreneurs on Etoro. And I think somebody who comes with that expertise, those people who back me now will see the benefit. Wouldn't it have been great to have taken one of the top people, some of the people who are top now, and have started to join them when they're at the beginning of their journey, and therefore you can join the whole, the benefit from the entire journey. Wouldn't it have been great to have invested in Apple 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or Google, or Facebook? Now, those people who did that and took the jump of faith and stuck it out reap the most benefit. In the same way, we're on a journey together towards financial independence. If you join me, then I'd really appreciate it. Now, I'm also going to give a plug for an advert for the rest of my family. My wife, her name is Adiba, love of my life. So she's got a company on Etoro called Asian Tigers. And lo and behold, she's doing even better than me. She's got a very different stance. And what she's doing is she looks at Asian tigers, Southeast Asia. My son is a doctor, and he has a passion for, that's him there, Dr. Muhammad. He's got a passion for making the world a better place. He's a junior doctor. He's working in Wigan at the moment. He's treating COVID patients. And these are the themes which run throughout his portfolio. And guess what? I'm not finished. I've got another son as well. Now this is the entrepreneur. Now this is my second son, and he's the one to blame for getting me hooked onto Etoro. Now his forte is trading FX and cryptos. That's what he loves doing. That's why you see some cryptos in my portfolio. He tells me what to buy and when. Don't always listen to him. So that's that one. And I've got, believe it or not, one more. And his name is Suhaib. Now, he's also becoming a doctor. He's a medical student studying in Bulgaria, and he's doing things very carefully, very cautiously. So he invests in companies with low volatility, and his idea is to get more than the banks. So that's the family. That's my family. I've actually got one more son, but he's too young to be on Etoro. He wants to get into dental. He wants to be a dentist. So I'd be very grateful if you could like, copy, share, subscribe, just join us on this fantastic journey that we've got going. And I really appreciate that. I have got a YouTube channel called Extreme Returns. I'm posting all sorts of wonderful content on there, which is about analysis. It's all financial, reasons I joined Etoro, what I do, why I'm on Etoro. I've analyzed top 10 traders. I'm going to analyze more of them. I've got financial analysis on companies as well. So it's a great journey. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening in. Really appreciate it. Take care and bye.